Okay, so hey guys, yep, we're back with the smoke room, and as you can see, they've added, they've added a new UI, which is really cool. Still where it was, that's but yeah, I have to say, I really fucking love this UI. It's so good, but we're not gonna do it because I don't feel like it would jump to a different route. But so I had a thought. I had a thought a week ago, I think it was. Um, Basically, I was thinking about like someone who played the smoke room first. How would they like? Because like the smoke room isn't obviously it takes place in Echo and it's in the past, but like it's very much not what you would imagine as a conventional prequel. Like the most conventional prequel we have for Echo is Route 65, which follows Chase and friends back in when they were in high school. But this one is very much separate from Echo. And I was like, would people be able to figure out that like they were connected? And then I thought about it and like, oh yeah, they would because like the smoke room is mentioned and Cliff is mentioned and yeah, Cynthia is mentioned. There's pictures of Sam and Cynthia and William. Yeah, they'd know. They'd know. I mean, it's interesting because in that case they'd have to get attached to Chase and the gang before they got attached to Sam and like B and these guys, which is cool. That's interesting. So anyway, enough of that. Enough of that gibbering on about stuff that doesn't really relate to what we're doing here. Let's just so we did William, and I liked his route's good, but like I want to I think I'll do I think I'll do Nikolai because I haven't really gone that far. I haven't even touched his route honestly because he doesn't appeal to me at all as a character. Like not as a character. When I first played this, he didn't appeal to me at all, like physically. So I didn't click him. I didn't click his route to begin with at all. So I was a superficial idiot. But yeah, Nikolai. I'm gonna have to get an accent ready for him because he's Russian, obvious. God, I can't even do it right. Whatever, we'll see. Great. I'm not gonna do the accent for Sam when it's just his inner thoughts because that seems a bit of a strain on the vocal cords. While the fox's wager is tempting, it's just that, a wager. I can't go risking anything when I've already lost much. Besides, seeing the miners out there reminds me that Nick could be very nearby. I can't just skip out on his appointment. I like how the font's different too. I just love this new UI, man. I saw it on the HO page when they released it. It's just so cool looking. I know that Nick looks forward to these nights, but there's another reason. Just thinking about Nick reminded me about something. He'd seen me after I came out of the mine, and after today's news, I swallow hard. I feel like he'd only show up if he was suspicious of me. Right? Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I feel like that would be the case. Okay, for those of you who have either never played this before or have forgotten, Sam killed someone in self-defense, obviously, but still killed someone, and that means the curse is passed on to him. And now he's he's grappling with that fact, trying to figure out what to do about it. You just go tell Will about me otherwise. If he does show up, he usually sits in the saloon watching the hall for my signal. Best to check, and a good excuse to get away from all the busy chatter of the people around me. Well, the gashes and bruises might have held for the most part, My head still throbs sometimes when too many people are talking at once. Just want a little peace. Maybe a little booze, too. Start to sidle off toward the door when the fox suddenly puts his attention right back on me. The clock is... I don't know what... Jeez, I don't know what voice to give him, honestly. The clock is ticking. Feeling lucky. Still feeling lucky. I grimace. Huh. He's red, not white. That's interesting. I don't play games while I'm working. Spend your money or spend your time elsewhere. Not a gallon man after all. His brow wrinkles. Stay busy then. Guess I'll buzz off too. God, Cliff. His is blue, of course. I don't see how that fits, but whatever. His eyes are blue, I guess. Wait. But Murdoch was his fur color, and he's his... Okay, this is... weird coloring choice, whatever. Wait, does this mean that you're going to fit me in? I frown at the idea that the weasel wouldn't listen to the conversation, even if he had technically been part of it from the beginning. Like I said, my other client canceled. Then maybe I may be able to, but for now I gotta look out for him. Of course, my memory is rather lacking tonight, it seems. Murdoch's lip curls into a tight smile. Well, aren't you eager? Do try to make room for him, Sam. You might break his heart otherwise. I'm sorry? Oh, it's nothing. If you'll excuse me, I got work to do. Good luck to you, sir. But then Murdoch is already walking away to where I last saw William. What did he mean by that? I frown. Who can say? That was awful. At that moment, Cynthia pops up next to the weasel as if she'd been waiting to have a moment with him this whole time. Hers is her... What is happening with these coloring choices, man? Were you able to find a bed for the night, sir? Heavens, oh! Well, not quite. Sam is going to check if he has an opening for me. I see. Well, I wouldn't count on it. You'll need a place to stay, and lucky for you, the situation outside is my night wide open. Yes, I will certainly keep that in mind. That's all I'm able to hear as I make my way to the door, leaving the crowded room behind. Just before I make my exit, I see Cliff with one foot in front of the other, as if he wants to follow me, but Cynthia is still talking his ear off. Thank the Lord for that mouth of hers. Gets quiet real quick, and I wonder why. Things should be bustling this time of night. And of course, remember what's happening outside. That Harlan would have locked up if he knew what was good for us. Sure enough, on my way into the saloon, it's completely empty. Even Harlan isn't there. The bar empty. Sounds like the mob must have moved away from right in front of the brothel, and I'm occasionally able to hear a holler every now and then. I like it though. Finally, a moment of not to be nagged by William, or my other clients, or even Cynthia. I have this reputation of being a sad loner, and while that might be true, I don't mind it at all. It's nice to be alone, and in a crowding city like Echo, not enough people appreciate that. Oh yes, crowding, because this is like early Echo. Well, not really early Echo, considering it started in like the 1870s-ish area, but like still basically boomtown era for Echo, which is kind of weird to think about. I made my way to the bar, decided to help myself. Sure, we aren't supposed to drink on work nights, but I'm under too much pressure right now, and I need something to take that pressure off. Quietly, I move behind the bar, glancing at the hallway just to be sure no one's coming before I snatch a bottle of whiskey from the cabinets. Pour myself a drink into a small glass as I plug off the bar, not really bothering to check if it's clean. I do feel guilty about messing around with Harlan stock, especially after he told me how low it is. So, to make myself feel less bad, I skip rummaging around for the sugar and bitters. Keep it neat and only one glass. I'm still making mostly empty, so that should be enough. Sit at the bar, staring to drink for a moment, knowing that what I'm doing right now isn't going to help me out of this mess. It's only making it worse. Isn't that true? I find it ridiculous that people still don't understand what's going on in Echo. Like it's fucking obvious at this point, but like apparently some people have the mental powers of a fucking goldfish. So I guess I'll have to spell it out. Um, Basically, there's an entity that's feeding off the trauma and bad emotions of all the people in the town, and it's like whenever someone dies a violent death, they get absorbed into the amalgamation, which is a collection of every single soul that has died in Echo from, violence, whatever type of violence you want to label violence, essentially. And then, of course, some people have a way of dealing with it by drinking or doing drugs or etc., which obviously is just a really elaborate metaphor for trauma in a way. But in the universe of Echo, it's some kind of entity itself that is causing these things. And it's crazy to me that people still don't understand that, considering it's like pretty much spelled out plain as day in TJ's route. But whatever, I guess people are fucking stupid or something. Or they like their own meta commentary better, or some bullshit like that. Whatever. It's only making it worse. Even as I'm thinking this, I'll take my first swig, then lean back, grimacing at the burn, extra sharp because it's rye. Here I am, making a weak attempt at getting goddamn canned, when I could be making double off that prissy little Batavian wheeze. Hello, Samuel. The last of my mouth goes down completely the wrong way. God, no. Mm-mm. Like, it's bad enough with water, but fucking alcohol? No. I can only imagine, man. The harsh but kind of pleasant sting in my throat suddenly becomes hellfire that spreads down into my lungs and up in my nose. Try to cough and gasp at the same time, having no choice but to dribble and snort into my glass, so I don't make a mess. Dear Samuel, are you quite alright? The weasel pats uselessly at my back until I push him away, trying to wipe my mouth and nose without him seeing. Christ, was you trying to sneak up on me? I managed to get that out before a twinge in my throat being for a coughing fit. No, I walked towards you very openly. You seem distracted by your drink. I finally catch my breath, so every time I suck in some air, my raw throat threatens another fit. Slouch in my seat, looking dejectedly at the rest of my drink, looking mighty putrid with my snot and spit floating around in it. I even considered just drinking the rest of it, but I'd take it all as a sign that I should stop. Looking around my feet, I found one of the spittoons and dumped the rest of the whiskey in it. I'm sorry, would you like me to buy you another? I wiped my face one last time, shaking my head. We're closed, so we ain't got a bartender. Oh, well, would you like me to make you a drink? Raised a brow. You know how. No, but I can always try. Don't bother. The side dealer in my face with my paws. I'm much more awake after nearly being murdered by my own whiskey. Seems I'm causing trouble here wherever I go, eh? I sniffle loudly, waving a paw. It's fine. I shouldn't be drinking anyway. Yes, I was surprised to find you this way. I would imagine alcohol would have a negative effect on your job performance. Leaned forward, propped my elbows on the bar, and rested my head in my paws. Maybe I shouldn't have kissed this guy. But I did come looking for you to see if you'd find your client. I suppose you've not seen him? Think for a moment, remember I'm supposed to be looking for Nick. But after seeing the deserted saloon, I'd just taken the opportunity to get away from everyone. Again, we're closed. Well, if that is the situation... I close my eyes, taking a deep breath, knowing what's about to be asked, and knowing that I'm going to accept. I need to be working. Do you think you'll be able to fit me in? Cliff cuts himself off, looking toward the back of the saloon. I do the same, knowing the back door is only used for us brothel workers and a few familiar customers. I can tell by the sounds they're making that they're big, and for a moment I worry that maybe the unrest outside is about to spill into the brothel. But then whoever it is pokes their head slowly around the corner. Nick looks about to say something to me, but then spots Cliff. Cliff actually jumps, taking a step back. Oh! It's quiet for a few seconds, and the badger straightens up, trying to look like he wasn't just sneaking around. Hello. I smile without meaning to, like I usually do when I see Nick. Howdy, Nick. Cliff seems to recover, the insides of his ears turning red. Oh, hello there, Sam. I thought you were closed. We are, but looks like Holland forgot to lock the back. Sorry, should I be leaving? I was not there if this saloon was closed. Now Nick's ears are turning red. Well, it isn't clearly closed, or... The weasel's face lights up. Oh, might you be looking for a... Madam of the Night? What? Nick was eyes in frustration. Nick is a private man even more so than other men like us. I mean... services that satiate more carnal desires. Nick is quiet, stripping him out to tell the weasel to scram back to the powder room. He's already talking again. A prostitute? Another awkward second of silence before Nick finally decides how to react to that. What? Definitely not. Why would you assume that of me? Oh, I meant no harm. I simply assumed based on the situation. I've taken a step back, moving behind me. Finally step in. It's okay. Nick doesn't involve himself in that debauchery. He only comes here for a drink. You just see the badger until he relaxes. I wink at him. Yes. My apologies. I shouldn't have assumed. Nick doesn't say anything in response, and Cliff just squirms around in place. Cliff, maybe you should go and see Cynthia. She's waiting for you. I suppose. The weasel doesn't move and just about to ask him to leave in a not as nice way. Nick starts walking towards us. Is this a friend of yours, Samuel? Oh god, that sucked, whatever. I mean, it was good, but like, whatever. Cliff stiffens again as the badger approaches, and I remember just how big Nick might look to someone new. Especially someone like Cliff. Yeah, this is Clifford. I am Nick. Nice to meet you, if you don't mind me asking, are you from around here? Your slight accent tells me you might be from outside the country. I see Nick bristle a little, probably because he's not used to someone prying into his life. No one really does that around here. Or maybe he's just offended of having his accent worn out. He's practiced not sounding foreign for a long time and he barely has an accent now. Well, shit. Whatever, I'll keep it the way it is. Actually, talks better than most around here. I am from Latvia, but I've lived in this country since I was a young man. You do not sound native either, by the way. Well, no, none of us really are we? But you are correct. I am Batavian. It's quiet as Nick waits for Nick's reaction. Finally, the badger only gives him a deep in response. Try to think of something to say. Aren't you guys from, the same place? Same place? Surely you heard us name two separate countries just now. I frown as they both stare at me. I mean, from the same area. I think of the goddamn name of the place I probably haven't said since school, which was a while ago. Now I'm the one turning red, both staring like I'm stupid or something. Europa? Yeah. So? Don't you have, stuff in common? Stuff to talk about? No. Our countries have no relations whatsoever, especially with the state of the continent right now. This would be similar to saying that you and a Sonoran would have much in common. We don't even speak the same language. Now I'm just getting annoyed realizing how foolish Cliff might think I am right now. Well, we use pesos around here sometimes. Even Nick looks laughing at me, and I've decided I've had enough. I think you should quit keeping Cynthia waiting. I thought we were going to... Go. Get myself from raising my voice, but I give him a look like I really mean it, and he seems to have taken the hint, like he's finally realizing this is my customer. Oh well, take my leave then. Pleasure meeting you, Nick. I feel a little satisfied now he's the one feeling stupid. The weasel scurries off back to the hallway, and I wonder if he's actually going to go see Cynthia. He seems old company for someone like you. I barely know him. Does he know your work? Yeah, he does. Nick, even if he knows you're my customer, he's not gonna tell. He wants my client too. Oh, for the first time since he got here, I see the badger relax completely. I do not like that he assumed what I am here for. Yeah, I don't think he thinks about what he's saying. Already got roughed up for talking too much. I stand up and Nick follows me, taking the familiar path to my room. He should be careful. He lowers his voice as we move into the hall, where the muffled talking and laughing behind the doors. Such talk can get you killed around here. Once from my room, oh boy, I'm gonna have to pause it here, bitches. Jesus, I forgot for a second. Wow. Once from my room, we're able to both drop our card. Yeah, time to pause. See you on the other side, fuckers. Okay, so I don't think it's going. I've completely forgotten what happens here. Um, Essentially they just talked about the miners union like getting up in arms over the murdered dude Jack that Sam killed. I stopped trying to take off Nick's shirt because he's now lifting his arm to help me. This little lemon paws rest under his shirt against his broad sides, feeling him breathe. Moment I'm worried that Nick's gonna bring up the demonstration thing again, but he surprises me. Did I interrupt an appointment? I frowned at the badger, confused. Then it knows what he's talking about. Oh, Cliff? Oh no, he didn't book me. I was waiting to see if you'd showed up, and you did. Starts to lean up to tease mouth with a kiss, but he drops his head, sighing loudly. What? You was a paying customer, yes? Well, yeah. I'm not gonna tell Nick he was gonna pay double, because Nick pays less than half. I try to nuzzle him again, but he turns his head. Yeah, that's the thing about like eco history is that the miners were treated so fucking poorly. They were paid so little, according to what was revealed in Flynn's route about how little they were paid. It's fucking atrocious. Jeez. You should have taken him. This is your work, and I am wasting your time if there is a fully paying customer available to take it up instead. Hey, you were booked. And I was late. You need money. I shouldn't be coming here. I glare my relief at the change of topic to someone just being annoyed. We've talked this over before. Hey, we figured this out a year ago. I'm not booked up every single night. Madame Dora said it was fine to have a low-paying customer and fill in the gaps. He keeps frowning. This is part of the business. No, you don't need it, so don't you go moping all tonight. That weasel's gonna book me later anyway. He didn't say anything, which is something he does a lot. Besides, you make up the difference in company. I want to see you, which is more than I can say for most of my clients. Nick smiles at hearing that, even though he's trying real hard not to. And I don't know why. No one else wants to see me. That's only 'cause you're big and they don't know you're nice. And that's 'cause you never talk to anyone. Nick rumbles out a deep badger growl, the kind that rumbles in my own chest. I'm just as mean as the other men. They know when they lose teeth they talk to me. Even though he's kidding, I kinda like hearing him talk like that, so I lean in to kiss him on the mouth. This time he lets me. Okay, I guess this is when it starts. See ya. Okay, so they just taught what just happened was they got in the bed and they're snuggling, and apparently that's all Nick wants to do is they just snuggle and they talk about their lives apparently, which is cute and all, but And I'm guessing now we're going to get into a convo because yeah, Nick takes a deep breath. Sam. Hmm. He pauses and again, and I feel that familiar ball of stress and despair flare back up my stomach. What? Sam, there's something I wanted to ask you. I wait, and while I usually don't mind a silent response, as this is getting me more worried. You remember when you were beaten near the mine, yes? Shit. I've been beaten a few times, Nick. Keep my voice steady, rubbing harder, making Nick grunt. I was wondering. Nick freezes, voice catching his throat as I give up on. But I was wondering something too. Okay, I'm pausing this in case something bad. Okay, so basically he's worried that Nick is going to put two and two together about him killing Jack. Nick isn't stupid and most anyone can put two and two together. He's at least thinking it might be me, right? But then if he really knew it was me, he'd tell. No one would lie down with a murdering whore. And while I'm thinking this, I give him the best of my pocket offer, and it seemed to go okay. So he just jerked Nick off. That was it. There's also a few comments about how he knows for sure that Nick doesn't know he's the murderer because he wouldn't kiss a murderer. But William knew and he didn't go crazy about it, so, bit sussy. I'm sorry, I need to stop. Now I gotta ask you if you're the one that's alright. Nick takes a deep breath before letting it out. Oh! Okay, so, they basically had a long discussion, and Nick let loose that he knew that Sam was related to Jack's death, and then Sam told Nick the entire story, and Nick is okay with it because he's not going to tell anyone, he's not going to give him in or anything, because Jack tried the exact same trick on another miner called Yao, and they went to sleep, and that's where we are now. Whatever this is, I come to in darkness. Complete darkness. Blackness that's so thick it feels alive. My head hurts. My forehead, it feels caved in. I reach up and gasp when I feel a critter where it should be smooth, yet my head's been bashed in, but somehow I'm alive. I cradle my head gently in my paws, thinking. What happened? I can't remember anything. I can't remember who I am. I just know that I'm in trouble. And now I hear something moving, something sliding on the ground next to me. Hello. Oh, that was the character that I'm supposedly as. Hello? Slithering, sliding sound stops. I stare into the dark, and everything crashes into me at once. I need help, so I start to cry. Help me, please, begged the thing in the darkness. The slithering sound starts up again and moves closer, but it's slower now. Then, when it's just a foot in front of me, I hear it. It doesn't speak words I know. It makes many sounds at once, sounds I can't describe, sounds I've never heard before. I know then that this thing in front of me isn't natural. It's something that shouldn't exist. But even then, it leans forward, and sharp things close around my face. I scream. I jolt awake, gasping and sitting up. I'm confused, probably because I'm still here, even though I plan to run, and also because Nick is somehow sleeping through the thunderous knocks. I wait, hoping overhead just goes away, but this time Nick does wake up, jerking hard as he looks around. Alright. It's the sheriff. You in there, Sam? Shit. I whisper in my breath, not ready to face William after what happened last night. I quickly get up, grab my underwear, and pulling it on. At the same time, wishing Nick to do the same, but he still looks panicked, even though I think William knows about him. Move toward the door, and finally Nick does get up, stand in the middle of the room. Oh my god. I don't know what to do, so I crack open the door. Sam, sorry to bother you right now, but I have a few questions. Is Nick in there? Was told he was a customer last night. It takes everything in me not to look to the right, where Nick just stays frozen up against the wall. Nick is putting me in a pretty bad situation right now. I could just lie, but it would be pretty dang obvious what's going on if I don't let William in. Usually let him in, no problem, but I can tell that Nick is pretty horrified at being caught with his pants all the way off. But I don't want to lie to William. He doesn't like being lied to, and I can only imagine it'd be worse if I'm caught in such an obvious one. So I do the only thing I can think to, which is absolutely nothing. I just stand there, frown at the floor while my brain just grinds to a halt, kind of like it did last night. Starting to wonder if I don't think as well on my feet as I always thought. Sam? William was confused, then annoyed. Christ, Sam, is he really? Nick finally brings our pointless shifting about to an end, thank God, as he steps out from against the wall. Okay. Nick looks around, sees his crumpled up trousers on the floor, then hurries over to them, one giant paw trying to cover up his privates. He has to let go of them when he's stumbling back into his pants, and they sort of flop around between his legs, William glancing over for only a moment before fixing his eyes on me. I really am sorry to interrupt your business, Sam, but this concerns both of you, and I doubt I'll get you together again anytime soon. My brain is catching up to the situation finally, and that horrible pit of dread starts making its home in my guts again, reminding me just how far away I am from being free of it. What about? I'm at least more calm than I have been when Nick confronted me last night. Actually, I feel a lot better than I think I should, and I start to wonder if maybe that's because Nick is kind of sharing this with me now. A burden to share. I put on my trousers. I can see that. Starting to feel fidgety with this small talk. William made this sound important, but he sure is taking his sweet time to get to the point. So I'm gonna ask a few questions that might seem a bit tough if you think you can handle it. He's looking right at me. I look right at Nick, but he looks at the floor. Did he tell William something already? Sam? Get my eyes back over at him quick, trying to sit in my bed in a way that doesn't show how I feel inside right now. You remember when you got yourself hurt a month back or so? Suddenly, that joined feeling I'd had with Nick just dissolves away. Still, I'm holding on to some kind of hope that who I thought was my friend isn't turning me in right now. I would have woken up if he left the room, I think. Think so. Memory's fuzzy, but my brain shook up like that. Well, think you can recall where it might have happened. I know you weren't sure last time. Maybe something tried your memory. Put on a show, thinking about it hard, but then I shrug. William sighs deeply, looking over to Nick. Nick, can you tell Sam where you saw him coming from after he was mugged? Look back at Nick, where my feeling of deep betrayal is showing in my eyes. It must, because he looks away again as soon as I do. Nick? Now Nick just went to let a real big sigh. I saw you heading west. I saw you heading up where the main stage I walk into work. I nod as if this is implicating me in anything. Alright, maybe one of the miners could have attacked me? Try not to wince and remember that Jack was a miner, at least for a little bit. The two of them just let the silence drag on. I almost had to laugh at how absolutely dumb this is. The one man in this town that I don't want to find out about this is doing just that the more I talk and fidget, and act like I'm not completely guilty. William sees right through it. It's his job to do that. Listen, Sam, we're not accusing you of anything. I just want to know what you might know. I really don't remember, William. Listen, Sam, I know you've been mugged before. It happens when you're out messing around before the crack of dawn. But maybe it's something worth looking into if it happened the same night. I just remembered an important detail, William. Except since just William's starting to interrogate me for real. Oh? And what might that be? Well, I just remembered that the point where I came across Sam was further in town, amongst the first businesses on Main Street. What? Were you traveling straight from the bunkhouse to the mine? That is my usual route, but I had to head into town to... Well, it is embarrassing to admit, but I sometimes search the streets for disposed of newspapers. I am short of money, and I'd like to know what might be happening back east where my family live. Not to mention what might be happening to my family in my home country as well. Wait, what? Good God, I don't know what you two are up to right now, but what I don't need is for you to waste my time. If you're gonna report something, keep it accurate. And if you don't want me to find out, then don't tell me at all. I'll figure out my own. William, it was a month ago. My memory is also hazy. Fantastic. Why don't you come into my office if it clears up? In the meantime, I'll be keeping this in mind. Getting yourself involved with this murder's the last thing you or I want. Be careful from here on out. William slams the door, leaving us both into stunned silence. Stare at the door, then over at Nick. Nick, why the hell did you do that? Well, you know I had suspicions earlier. You could have warned me. I kept saying I didn't want William to know. Make an effort to lower my voice. Well, it was a bit late by then. I told him before I met you last night. Weren't you worried what he might do to me, though? William is a good man. I knew I could trust him, and I know you well enough to know that Jack was the troublemaker in this situation. Troublemaker sounds like a mighty light word for what he did. But then you ended up interrogating me harder than even William did just now. I had to get the truth from you quickly. We are now in the better position. Except for with William, you saw how mad he was. Well, yes, and that was my fault. You walked back from what you said. You looked distressed. I wanted to help you. Yeah, well, you might as well have never told William in the first place. Now I was really suspicious about the two of us. Yes, it is a bad situation. I do not expect him to show himself here in your room. It happens. Often? Often enough. Nick stands there looking around. Well, I am late for work. I think I will go back into the back entrance to get your coins today on my lunch if they are still there. Wait, really? Of course, I assume it took you quite long to save double eagles. Did, better part of 2 years. How do you know where it is? Well, I helped move the bolties so I'd know where it happened. It's quiet again, and the badger stoops to grab his shirt. I will come again tonight between your appointments. Alright, thanks, Nick. No thanks needed. I will see you tonight. I stay in the bed as I stare at the floor. It's not often someone does something nice for me without expecting something else in return. Cynthia does, but that's about it. I feel that warm feeling for Nick come back on my chest, and I feel myself smiling a little. I guess he was only looking out for me by telling William what he did. Even if we kind of ruined it, convincing William right off the bat would have been good. Maybe I should come clean with the coyote? That would be half my worries gone if you believe me. That's an if, and I'm really not ready to take chances on this right this minute. I need a break from all this confessing. I sigh, wondering if maybe I should have told Nick exactly where I dropped the coins. I don't like the idea of him fumbling around where, well, Nick would be okay. Whatever happened in there was after me, and me alone for killing man. My guts twist to remind myself. Not only that, but I'm probably going to hell now because I remember those sounds and that thing happened right after I killed Jack. It only makes sense it's hunting me. But what if it isn't? What if it's still in there waiting for the next person? No, that was the devil. What if it wasn't? Well, it has to be, because if it isn't, then I can't explain it at all. I imagine Nick feeling around in the dirt for the coin, some indefinable shape coming around behind him to smother and pierce him. Shit! Heart seems to plummet in my ass, making me squirm and dig my claws in my arms. I can't let him go in there alone. Even if he moved the body he was with people then. What if he's alone? I gotta stop him. Either I go in there with him or I warn him, make him realize I'm crazier than he already thinks. Oh well. Double eagles aren't worth Nick getting hurt in there or worse. I mean, they're only worth a good amount. Hell, I might still go in there for them, but I'm not just gonna let Nick go in blind. With that set on my head, I keep sitting there. It's too early to get up and run errands that I usually have for Madame Dora, so maybe I'll just get a little more shut-eye while I can. When I think about that, Jack's face just appears in my mind, his eyes open, staring back at me. Couldn't even do it in the courtesy of closing his eyes and let him rest forever. I fret on myself, wondering why the hell I'm thinking that right now. Then I get this stupid, awful creeping at my neck again, like something is here with me. I rub my neck, looking back at the wall. You know what? I should read the Bible for now. Oh, Sam, buddy, that's a fuck. Okay, I have a story for you fuckers. When I was still a Christian, my dad sat me down and said, "Hey, you want to watch The Exorcist with me?" And I was like, what, 12 or 13 at the time? So like, okay, Dad, whatever. But then, after the movie was over, I went to my fucking room and I sat down on my bed and I read half my fucking Bible in a single night because I was so fucking scared. Yeah, that was Christian me. Today's me would just like sit down and chat with someone and curse a bit, and then I'd be perfectly fine. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I slid out my bed, trying not to think about how it's light out, and I'm still scared. That's a bad sign, because how the hell am I going to handle the night? I opened the little worn compartment on my vanity, seeing the worn leather spine of the Bible that was there when I first started working here. That should be capitalized, but whatever. I breathe a big sigh of relief, but the relief doesn't come. Instead, the tickling waves of my fur stand up on end, keep going up my spine and neck. Finally, I feel exactly where the presence is coming from. I look, oh, boy, I jumped from seeing my own goddamn reflection. That's a fucking mood. That's a fucking mood, bitch. Wow. I stare at myself. I look like I can't believe what just happened on my face. Then I laugh in a loud, hollow sort of way because it should be funny, but it isn't at all. Holy shit. Holy shit, I might actually be going crazy. Fuck, I need to get out of here. I quickly snap shut the chest, hiding the Bible from sight, saying a quick sorry to God for cursing in front of the holy book. Then I'm gonna dress as quick as I can. All the while, I don't look over at the vanity. Even though I know this is all nonsense, I still can't help but feel like that isn't me looking back. There's something else. I'm happy to leave the room behind for now. Happy to not dwell on the idea that something might have followed me home. God, that's a fucking... Okay, I have a fucking story for you fuckers. Oh my god, the mirrors, man. Oh man, mirrors. One time I was just in my bed, like, thinking up horror story ideas. And suddenly, one of them stuck, and I loved it so much for about 5 seconds before it made me so fucking scared. Basically, the idea for this story was, what if when you look in a mirror and you see a reflection, it isn't actually you, it's some sort of other you that wants your life and hates your guts for having the life that you have. Yeah, that fucking thought kept me up for about 5 hours that night. No. The saloon is quiet, bright with the sunrise coming in through the windows. Most everyone else is asleep. They were probably up way later than me. I go out the back because that's the most important part of keeping my work private. If no one sees me leave the place, and they just assume I'm some vagrant with weird fur. Of course, unlike the girls, my clients have to find me, so there's a certain level of me being in the know that I'm comfortable with, and I'm happy with where I'm at. Feeling better already. Feeling the warmth of the sun soaking in my fur, listening to the townsfolk till they wake up and bring the street around me to life. It seems loony I felt the way I did in my bedroom. Just needed to get out. There's a real bounce to my step when the door opens in front of me, and of all people, that weasel pops out. It's like he shoved his paws up in my ribs and squeezed my lungs with the way he deflates. Hunch over like I usually do, shoving my paws in my pockets and trying not to be noticeable as I slink past. Of course, he spots me. "Oh, howdy, Sam." I sigh, drawn back against the wall of the building that he came out of, so we're out of everyone's way. "Howdy." Cliff looks with an expectant smile. "What?" "Well, how did it sound?" "What?" My howdy. I am working to assimilate better. It's a shortening of how do you do, you know." "Yeah, I guess I've never really thought about it." Which is actually why you not noticing is the best compliment you can give. It did not stand out." I think back. Well, maybe it kinda did. I don't think I was paying attention. "Good enough for me." Even though my instincts want to reject this little fellow for being so completely different from me, I kinda want to kick myself for being so down on him. He's not hurt anybody, aside from himself, that is. If you're gonna hurt somebody, it might as well be yourself. Smirk at him. "Well, congratulations. You're now an echoer. You get to kick up the balls and being stuck here forever." "Are you implying that you are stuck here?" I shrug. "Kind of. Nowhere else to go. No real money either. And I'm a suspected murderer." "Well, never limit yourself in such a way. Look at me. I'm a mixture of so many things that should have never turned up in a place like this, yet here I am." "Well, my advice to you is to get out while you can. They say if you miss your train, it's gone for good." "Don't be silly, Sam. You can still take a carriage or walk if you don't have the means." Which moves you onto the shittier town that is Peyton. I need a train to get me out west, maybe further. Cliff's life of traveling doesn't sound like the worst. Even if he did land himself an echo, the poor chump. Is Batavia nice? It is. In fact, being here has made me appreciate the more refined aspects of Batavia and Wensleydale. Not that I don't appreciate the rough nature of the untamed West, though honestly I find the cities here to be rather harsh as well. That's why William moved here from the big city, I think. Oh yes, I heard some stories back home of the brutal outfit that pulled most of the strings in the city. I always thought that after coming from over there, he'd just kinda stick up his nose at a small-time crime here, but he takes everything seriously. It's real weird having an conversation with this weasel. Yeah, well, he might be different, but he's an easy guy to talk to. I guess talking a lot has its advantages. Sir, you're friends with that female kit fox in the saloon, right, correct? Cynthia? Yes, she's the one. What about her? Last I remember, the weasel was trying to sneak away from her. Well, she's a member of the Meseta tribe, is she not? I think so. She doesn't talk about it much. Gets real testy if you try. I know. I was hoping that because you are friends, you might be able to help me. Just because we're friends doesn't mean she go along with anything I suggest she do. What do you want her to do anyway? I myself getting a little protective of Cynthia. What if he wants to run his big school's experiments on her or something? Oh, nothing too strenuous. I simply would appreciate some directions to where I should go. That doesn't sound too terrible, I guess. Well, were you still on making a plan with me? Oh, well, if you're interested, you didn't seem to be last night. I was already booked, just making a plan with the madam, and then you'd like time in the smoke room. Oh, I don't smoke. It's code, I guess. It tells him you want to see me without saying out loud. You remember what happened when you did that last time. Ah, understood. Anyway, I can talk to Cynthia and maybe set something up between the two of you, alright? Thank you, Sam. Sure, and it was nice talking to you, Cliff. See you around the saloon then. Indeed, you said almost as many words to me in the past 5 minutes as you have the past few days. I look forward to our appointment. And we've been setting off down the street again. Cliff was a nice distraction while it lasted, but now I'm back to thinking on Nick. It's probably less than an hour until noon, which means I gotta head over now if I'm gonna catch him. So I start walking that way. Start getting a creeping feeling, one that's different from what I felt in my room, thank God. This feels more like someone real is watching me. Scratch the back of my neck, trying to look like I'm not walking somewhere I'm familiar with. In fact, I don't think I've walked this way since the day it happened. Come up in a small crowd that's packed up in front of the press building. Well, it's a tent now, because a month ago a group of men burned the place down after something was printed in the papers that they didn't like. Fucking losers. The dirt around it is still a blackish color from the old ash. Now I'm finally at a place where I might have reason to stop. I face the tent and look to my left, up the street where I'd come. There's nothing out of the ordinary on the wide street. People here and there going about their business. There's a wolf lying face down by another saloon, a much smaller one than ours. But as I'm looking at him, I see something move by the side of the saloon around the corner to the alley. Look up and see for just the quickest second a very familiar tail poking around the corner. I look hard, but it's disappeared. Shift around in place, not sure what to do next. Tails can only be so many colors, but I'm damn certain I knew that one. So I sort of pressed myself against the side of the tent, wishing there was something more solid to lean on so I could look more casual. Just them glaring at the way I keep getting bumped into the crowd, I see something move again around that corner. Sure enough, a flash of a tawny eye and a sharp ear looks around it. I look up the street right away, pretend I didn't see the coyote spying on me. God damn it. If I'd wondered how suspicious William is of me, I just got my answer. This is the worst time, too. I need to get to Nick now, otherwise I'm gonna miss him and he's gonna go in there alone. So it's just to push me through the crowd, getting a shove or two from the loud men as I squeeze by them. I automatically snarl and cuss at them like you're supposed to when other men just suspect you in this town. But I'm only thinking about William now. As soon as I'm past the tent, I take a quick left onto a smaller road with hardly any buildings except a house or two. With no one around, I speed up, jogging down the road before stopping in front of one of the few buildings around, more of a shack, really. I look behind me, and right as I do, I see William right there, between the tent and the building next to it. My heart freezes, but he isn't looking at me. He's looking at the crowd of men, an angry glare in his face as he pushes a few of them aside. I'm numb as I just walk into the shack. Coming out of the brightness from outside, I can hardly see anything except the glow of a small lantern in the corner. I stand there for a few seconds feeling dazed, waiting for my eyes to adjust. I know people are in here, I can hear them, but I can't smell them because something else crowds my nostrils. All that comes to mind is one of my old customers, but I still remember because he was a panda, and because he smelled just like this. Incense. I frown, wondering. Lay? I can never say his name right because my mouth just can't put the first and second part of Lou together. Okay, I think that's Lou. So when I say Liu, he'd laugh and said Lee was alright. But I realized right quick this is not Lee once my eyes finally get used to the dark. Lee left anyway, at least I think he did. One of the dozen customers had stopped showing up. In front of me now, though, is a long-eared thing, I think a hare. He's not Lee, but he's dressed oriental like Lee would. Then he starts talking to me in a language that's way too fast for me to even get a hold on. Then he points at the door. Go. That I do understand. I sit around place just wanting to say a minute or two more until William isn't out there anymore. Cannot can I stay here for just a minute? I won't bother you. Sun's getting to me. To my right, a curtain that I thought was a wall whips back, and what looks like a weasel with black fur sticks his head out. He says something that will sing Langley hair, then he turns to me. What are you doing here? Just passing through. I'll leave in a second. Move a little to my right so I can't be seen through the entrance. The weasel talks back and forth to hair again, then turns back to me. Did someone tell you about this place? I look at him, and at the same time he brings something up to his mouth. Focus on it because it's so weird looking, and I think it's a pipe, but it's just a really long one. I'm also thinking that it's not tobacco in there. The weasel takes a deep puff on it. The hair turns to him too and makes the backhanding motion that he'd done with me earlier. The weasel shouts back before the pipe disappears. I'm slowly understanding where I am and why the man is so mad at me. I turn to him, my paws up. I won't tell anyone. I can mind my own business. I can promise that. I'm just catching some shade while I can. I'm not going to tell him that the sheriff was following me. There's another back and forth between the two of them, and finally the hare just throws up his paws and walks over to a chair in the corner he'd probably been sitting in before I burst in. I stand there real uncomfortable enough that I'm ready to go back out even though it's only been a minute. The weasel keeps staring at me, taking a drag from the pipe every now and then. What is it, weed? Is it weed? There's a weird look in his eye, like he's staring at something miles away over my head. Your fur is very white for a mountain lion. I bristle. Yeah, well, your fur is real dark for a weasel. Sable. What? I am a sable. Never heard of that. Most here haven't. I sigh, so I'd probably go now. Would you like to try? Sends the sadness and pain away for a while. He holds up the shiny pipe, almost glittering from the light that comes into the doorway. I watch him inhale again, blow out a light smoke and just in my direction, and I think I catch a whiff of something else just over the incense. Then I get a real good look at his hand, and I see most of his fingers missing. Oh my, I didn't notice. Oh god. His pointer and thumb stick out in ways that they shouldn't while the pipe balances between them. I start to move toward the door. You can get alcohol and morphine at the drugstore for that. I feel like I'm gonna advise even though I know he doesn't need it. Maybe it's because I'm friends with the sheriff and I want people to follow the law even though I don't. This is better, for less money. That's important for men like me who can no longer work. Look at his hand again and he smiles. Got in the machinery at the mines. Now I use my feet to pick up trash for pennies. The sable looks over at the hare. I was hunched over, looking like he's sewing something. And occasionally interpret for the men who can't speak the local language. I think whatever the guy is on, I know what it is, I just can't remember the name, is making him more talkative too. Oh, okay, well, thanks for letting me stay. I'm feeling better now. Back up, but then because I've seen the Oriental men do it, I bow. The sable nods and the hare snorts, but I'm already slipping out the door, glad to breathe an air that isn't so heavy. I look around. No William. I sigh with relief, feeling a kick of relief and even happiness in my chest. That's a bit of a redundant sentence. You could change one of the words there. It would have been terrible to get caught in there. Not only for myself, but the men in there too. Look at my paws, happy that they worked, deciding to ask Nick about the man. Maybe that badger needs to be more careful himself. I'm walking between the buildings toward the road to the mines and I realize that I'm not feeling normal. Oh no, he was in there for a bit too long, wasn't he? I'm happy, and there's this feeling like I'm floating a little. Yeah, he was in there too long. Most of the worry I had is gone. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Nick. I smirk, shaking my head, wondering how the hell I'm feeling this different when I didn't even touch the pipe. It's very obvious, dude. It's very obvious why. Contact high, or whatever. Good grief. Fucking hell. Maybe after this I can go back and ask a bit more about it. I walked boldly through the sagebrush, only slowing my pace a little. But I remember I gotta look out and listen for rattlers. For I know I'm next to the hillside where the mine is, and I stand there, paws on my hips as I stare up at the rocky slope with a grin. I scan the terrain until I see the outcropping of boulders. It's easy to recognize, their shapes haven't been burned into my mind. Still, I don't lose my smile as I start climbing up the hill on all fours. I'm out of sight of the town here, but I do wonder if the miners saw me coming. I don't even look at the main entrance. I know I need more careful, but I'm not exactly in my right mind right now. Being anywhere near these parts of town would make me look suspicious even before the murder. So I speed up my pace a little, practically plow my way up the hillside until I'm next to the boulders. Look around for a place to sit, then I just crouch there, appreciating everything for the time being. I even let myself think about how good my future looks. I've wanted to get out of here since I got here, and now I sort of have to leave. Maybe if things go right, I can ask Nick to go with me. I always hear they got more gold out there, even if the heyday is over. Nick might like that. As time passes in the queerest of ways, I start to wonder if maybe I missed noon, but then I actually laugh when it goes off. I wasn't too late after, not at all. I lean my head against the boulder just waiting for Nick to come along. I really want to see him. I want to talk to him. Really talk to him and not let his need to look aloof bring the conversations up short. Maybe when we're walking through the mine, oh boy, what's gonna go wrong here? This is way too cheerful. This is way too happy. This is way too cheerful for Echo. Way too lackadaisical. I glance up at the boulder and stare for a second. As I see what I think are hands, paws of a bunch of different creatures reaching out for the opening like a bouquet of flowers. I stare and blink and it doesn't go away. So I do the next thing I can, that's just close my eyes again, enjoying the haze. Yeah, that's but I breathed in oriental medicine for several minutes, so who knows what the hell it can make you see. Hand, I reach out of a fucking mine, I guess. Shit. So this is how it's gonna go wrong. Right, of course. Oh my god, what the fuck happened? Are you fucking kidding? Hands reaching out of a fucking mine, I guess. I chuckle quietly to myself, wishing I could see the world this way all the time. Then I hear footsteps and I prick up with excitement. But then I hear talking, so I keep crouching in case it's not Nick. But sure enough, I hear his voice rumble out. And that's finally when I stand up, only realizing the ghostly reaching paws are gone when I'm staring through where they used to be. Hey, Nick. What, Sam? What are you doing? Well, after you went and left, I realized I didn't tell you a lot of things about the mines. What happened down there. You mean about the crime? I don't say anything because I can see that someone's rustling around behind Nick. I frown and stare, and Nick jumps aside, gesturing at whoever he brought along. Who is it? Is it Yao? I wanted some assistance, so I brought Yao with me. He's very good with memorizing the mines, far better than I. I frown deeper, the words I've wanted to say to Nick getting caught in my throat. How am I going to talk to Nick about what I saw with this guy around? Hello. Big Cat takes my hand and gives it a firm, aggressive shake. As a friend of Nikolai's, I trust you share in his will and purpose. I raise my eyebrow. Barely make out the trace of an Eastern accent when Yao speaks. Okay, so they're both fucking Russian. Cool. He speaks almost as clearly as Nikolai does, but with some musical quality. Hell, might even be better putting words together than I can. But I'm still mulling over his introduction. Will and purpose? Because not a minor, yo. Oh. I apologize. I see that I made presumptions. It don't matter. But with that topic reached, I suspect it is not mandatory for you to share in our trade to understand their obstacles in time. Obstacles he does not need to worry himself with. I don't know how to distinguish these two. The obstacles he might find common in his own trade. Not likely. But I can't tell him that. I will remind you that such obstacles will be universal to every chapter of labor in this country. Perhaps true. But he is only someone I want to help, not recruit. Very well, let's move and be quick about it. We can talk as we walk. That's how I'll distinguish them. Fucking Nick has a deep-ass growly voice, and I don't know. Tiger motions for us to move away from the small cabin settled next to an exterior quarry. More in the direction of a pathway up the hillside. My back. My thoughts linger on Nick telling this man that he wanted to help me, which seems more forward than normal for him. I smile a bit on the inside, but I try not to show it. He's talked about me before? Tiger seems lost in the thoughts, lifts his attention back to me. Never. Never? That makes more sense considering Nick's privacy, but I cannot feel a little sour now. There are many bands of men in a company who I do not get to meet. Miners assigned to different foremen do not tend to see or speak to one another. Brave foremen are assigned to separate sites within the mine. I have only seen 2 of these higher-ups and have spoken to one. A new young man who arrived from the trains and do about these much like you do. At least in the beginning. I don't much care for how he says that. You look like you take care of yourself. His physique might even be better than mine. I have worked in engineering positions in many towns and in many places. Most importantly, I've been very fortunate. But don't you live in Nick's bunkhouse? I meant that I am still whole. And you are so very knowledgeable. Tiger grunts. But you know they don't like that. No, they do not. Guess that means your bosses would love me. A wit can be dangerous too, my friend. True. Fucking true. Honestly, I'd even say that a wit is more dangerous than brawn. Like, seriously. Genuinely, intelligence is terrifying in terms of that. As we hit the top of the hill, the entrance of a mine shaft appears on the horizon. Oh shit. Took a second. But this is the mine entrance that's like chained up in Echo. Oh my god, what the fuck? You're kidding. Okay, this route actually really piquing my interest, not gonna lie. As we hit the top of the hill, the entrance of a mine shaft appears on the horizon. Rows of carts on tracks wheel out of it, and several shapes trot out of the entrance. The tiger beckons us forward. An old-looking polecat sees us and gives us an apprehensive look and starts speaking language I don't understand. Yao speaks back in the same language, crossing his arms. The polecat shrugs, shakes his head, keeps pulling the car full of chalky-looking rocks forward. Go on. I stare at the mouth of the mine shaft. It's much safer looking the hole that Jack had as you, but that doesn't make me feel better. It's still that horrible place with its horrible smell. Sam, you can stay out there if you like. We can find what you're looking for. It's much safer for us to take a look than you. I'm here, I'm going. He gives me a concerned look, but Yao's expression is quizzical. We are not going deep enough for anything dangerous. A visitor will be safe under our guidance. That isn't true. I'm not letting Nick out of my sight down there. I won't let him be alone looking for the money that I dropped. The rush of air from the entrance of the mine shaft brushes through my fur. It always feels to me like caves out breathing at the entrance. That would just be the difference in air pressure. Yeah, leads us inside. Oh boy. Oh boy, those are handprints. I don't like that. Okay. So basically we're done. I'm done for the night with this video. I hope you fucking enjoyed it, fuckers. Cause I sure did. That was actually a really fun start to our route. There's a lot of stuff to unpack there. Wow. Anyways.